What's up, camera nerds? Cooper Naitove here again, and today we have some more sick gear to test out from Adorama. In this video, I'll be checking out a couple new additions to Sigma's contemporary line, the 24mm f2 and the 90 f2.8. To test them out, I met up with model Gabi Chappel and shot some images for her portfolio around the neighborhood. Before we get into the features these lenses share, first let's talk about each one's individual specifications. The 24 f2 weighs just 12.9 ounces and is constructed from 11 groups and 13 elements with 1 FLD and 2 SLD elements as well as 2 aspherical lenses. This results in a small but sturdy lens that's super sharp from edge to edge. One thing you sometimes have to worry about with wide lenses like a 24 is how they handle things like distortion and vignetting. Fortunately, this 24 performs super well in both categories even when wide open. Usually it's hard to get a shallow depth of field with a wider lens. However, since this 24mm opens all the way up to f2, you can still get great separation from the background even without being super close to your subject. If separating your subject from the background is what you're after though, it's time to break out the 90mm. As you'd expect when wide open, the 92.8 produces some really beautiful bokeh. I couldn't believe how small it was while still managing to pack 11 elements in 10 groups with 5 SLD and 1 aspherical lens. At just 10.4 ounces, it's so much easier to carry around than the 70 to 200 2.8 that I usually use for portraits. You could walk around all day with this thing and barely even notice it was there. I really like this focal length for portraits because not only does it create great separation from the background, but longer focal lengths like this are generally more flattering for portrait photography. When compared to a wide lens, a longer lens actually has a lot more optical compression and compresses the elements of the face in a flatter, more attractive way. If you've been paying attention to the photography world at all, it's hard to miss the resurgence of film. From electronic shutters to their digital viewfinders, digital cameras just lack some of that great tactile sensation that you get with a manual film camera. To recreate some of the magic of shooting with film, Sigma's decided to give their digital equipment a bit more of an analog feel. So on these lenses, Sigma has included a manual aperture ring just like you'd find on an analog film camera. Personally, I love a manual aperture ring. It really just makes the act of taking pictures that much more fun. It's also clear that Sigma spent a lot of time getting the feel right on their manual focus rings. The focus rings on these lenses have a long throw and are dampened really well, and I rarely found myself hunting for focus. Another feature that adds to the classic feel of these lenses is their incredible build quality. The whole lens, including hood and lens mount, is completely made of metal and really feels like one of my vintage film lenses. As these lenses are part of Sigma's contemporary line, they aren't necessarily aimed at the consumer looking for the pinnacle of optical performance. But factors like their small size, robust build, and manual features make them a great choice for photographers who care more about the craft of taking a photo than outright lens specs. Compared to some of the more plasticky and even more expensive lenses that I own, all the lenses in Sigma's contemporary line feel super solid and like it's a piece of gear that you'll be able to count on for years. This has been a quick overview of Sigma's 24mm 2.0 and 90mm 2.8 in their contemporary line. If you want to see the rest of the great content Adorama puts out, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and please let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Have a good one.